Hello and welcome. This is Christina Hills from the Website Creation Workshop, and welcome to this masterclass training on the 5 productivity tips to help you work faster and smarter online. And my name is Christina Hills. I am an international WordPress coach and teacher, and I've been teaching WordPress since 2008. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go through the training. I'm going to do live demos in between the PowerPoint slides, and I'll take your questions at the end when we get to the Q&A, and then also at the end we will give out the link for the PDF tips download. So as I go through these trainings, you don't have to write down all these codes because you're gonna get it at the end. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right in with productivity tip number 1, which is use multiple browsers when you work. And some of these tips you're already going to know, and you're going to be like, I already know that, this is easy. And then there'll be some nuggets for everyone who doesn't know all these tips and tricks, and you'll be amazed how much faster you're going to work. So let's talk about using multiple browsers. All right, so first off, what is a browser? A browser is what connects you to the internet. So when you boot up your computer, you open up a browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, there's lots of different browsers, and that connects you to the internet. And both Macs and PCs, they all use browsers. In fact, all devices, that's how you connect to the internet, is you use a browser. Now, I didn't mention here, and I don't have a slide for this, if you're on your iPhone or Samsung or whatever Droid you're using, you might be using an app to connect to the internet. But we're talking about browsers. So apps kind of go in their own category. All right, so when you open up a browser, you use a browser to do a search. So Chrome is a browser, but Google is the search engine, and Bing is also a search engine. So you can use whatever browser you want and whatever search engine you want. Google is the most common. All right, so which browsers could you use? So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the different browsers. And in this slide, you can see there's Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and Opera. Not that many people use Opera. I've never used Opera. Edge used to be called Internet Explorer. I don't know why they changed the name of it. But I used to use it, I don't. I primarily use Chrome and Firefox. So here's my website in Chrome, and here's my site in Firefox. So it mostly looks the same. Here's my site in Safari. So if you're on a Mac, most Mac people use Safari. And these are just different screenshots. Here's my site in Microsoft Edge. So these are just different screenshots of what my Website Creation Workshop website looks like in the different browsers. Why use multiple browsers? Like, why on your computer should you have multiple browsers? Some websites can look different in various browsers. Some websites can work better in a certain browser. So if you're building a website, like if you're in the Website Creation Workshop, or if you took the Website Creation Workshop, you want to always check your site in 2 different browsers. But what I want to talk about next in terms of why you want to have multiple browsers is you can have an admin view and a visitor view at the same time while building your website if your website is live and you want to put it under construction. So for example, I've got this site called buildyourpassion.com, and right now it has a coming soon up. Sometimes it's referred to as an under construction. And so if I don't want people to see my site while I'm building it, I can put up this coming soon. And then I can log into the back end. This is the login screen for WordPress. And that's what it looks like. And in this login screen, the image is showing, it's showing that the under construction is enabled to let me know this is what the public is going to see. Then I go ahead and I log in, and then I can view it in another browser in the back end. So what does that mean? That means you can have two different browsers going. One where you'll see, oh, this is what people are going to see when they're not logged in, because people wouldn't be logged in. So this is what the public will see. But while you're creating your site and you're logged in as an admin, you can see the inside of your site. So that is one of the benefits of having two different browsers, is you can look at one and then you can look at the other on the same time. At the same time. So if you don't have a second browser, you can download another one for free from the internet. So again, you pick whichever one you like to get a second browser. If you don't have Chrome, you can go ahead and download it, and this is what it looks like. Or you can download Firefox, and they make it easy. Getfirefox.com. You can download Safari at Apple support. Don't worry about writing this down. Or Microsoft Edge, which is a really long URL for Microsoft Edge. And if you forget how to download it, just Google it. That's why I went so quickly through those slides, because you don't need to write it down. Just go to Google, how to download Chrome, or how to download Chrome for a Mac, or how to download Safari for Windows. So just Google it. That's what I always do. And pick pick the first result. All right, so I want to talk about private browsing, right? So I want to explain what private browsing is. It's called a private window. It's sometimes called incognito. So private browsing, private window, incognito. If you don't want to be bothered with downloading software, this is another way you can do it. And I'm just curious, I don't have a slide here for this. Type in the chat, are you familiar with private browsing? Like incognito. Like, I didn't learn about it for many, many years. So yeah, it looks like half of the people are saying yes and half of the people are saying no. So this is a way to get around having to bother to download another browser. So both Firefox and Chrome, and I didn't check Safari or Internet Explorer, have a way to create a private window. So if you're using Firefox, and I have two examples, in Firefox, you go over to the three little lines at the side, or they might be dots, and you click on New Private Window. And when you do that, it will open up a window that looks like this. So what is a private window? A private window won't have any cookies, won't have any logins. It's as if none of your saved preferences will show up in a private window. And it's an easy way to test things, to see how things are working. Because maybe you're logged in or whatever, this is what's good about a private window. Let me show on Chrome. Chrome refers to it as incognito. So three little dots and new incognito window. And then that opens up a browser that looks like this. That is incognito. So it's not going to save your browsing history or cookies or any information that you've typed in. So it's a nice way to look at a website and as a fresh new person. All right, so I'm going to get out of PowerPoint, and I'm going to demo multiple browsers, and I'll demo a private and incognito window. So let me get out of PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm in Chrome and I'm logged in, and if I want to bring up an incognito window, I click on the three little dots, new incognito window, and it hasn't remembered me at all. So that, and you can go to any website. Some people believe if you buy plane tickets in incognito, you'll get a cheaper price. I don't really think that's the case. So this is incognito for Chrome, and and I have this nice little circle so you can see where I'm going. Let me bring up Firefox. So I'm in Firefox, and it sees me logged in, right, because I'm logged into my Gmail account. But on the upper right, if I click on New Private Window, now I have a private window.
Yep. So Chris says, when or what use cases would benefit from incognito mode?
Yes. So here, let me show this. So remember I talked about if you're logged in and you've got under construction on, you can see the website you're building. So here's a site I'm building called buildyourpassion.com. But if I want to see what the world will see who's not going to be logged in, now in here, you see, I see what the public sees. So that is a reason to use it. So if you don't want to have two browsers, you can have one browser and you can be logged in working on your site, and then you can have another browser that shows you the outside. New private window. So this is Firefox, and I'm going to talk about tabbed browsing. And here is Chrome. So that is a benefit of looking at, let's see how this looks in Firefox. So here's my tips webinar. It pretty much looks the same in two browsers. I think I've explained the point on this. I want to keep going, so I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint file. Hold on. All right. Productivity tip number 2 is to use tabbed browsing. And I teach this a lot to my students, but every time I teach it, there's always somebody who's never heard of it. So let me just jump in. So the problem with multiple windows. So remember just a moment ago when I was demoing that, I had to keep moving all these multiple windows around and they were kind of getting on top of each other. Well, the solution is to learn tabbed browsing and start working with tabbed browsing. It makes things a lot easier. So by opening websites in a new tab, it lets you view sites still available in the same browser window. So you're just staying in one place, but you're switching between these little tabs at the top. And it enhances productivity greatly. I remember the first time I learned this, my husband showed me, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I was logging out, logging in, logging out, logging in to look at the outside and the inside, etc. So this is one of the things I teach in the website creation workshop, where I'm going to teach you how to build a WordPress site, is to use tab browsing when you're building. So that means in one tab, you've got the inside of WordPress, and then in another tab, you have the outside of WordPress. So in one little tab, you're making changes, and then you're looking at the outside. So it's really convenient when you're building sites. And here's some tabbed browsing shortcuts. So Control T will open a new tab. If you're on a Mac, it's Apple Command T with a little Apple Command symbol. And to close a tab, Control W or Apple Command W. And then I threw in this Control Z. This was Joanna's idea, which was a great idea because I just think, oh, everybody knows what Control Z is. Control Z is an undo. So if you make a mistake anywhere, if you hit your Control key on your keyboard and then the Z, you can undo it. So even in Microsoft Word, lots of different places. In PowerPoint, Control Z if you make a mistake. So most people probably already know that one. And then tabbed browsing gets even better. You can pin your tabs for faster efficiency. So let me explain what that is. So if you right click on a tab and pin it, it will pin it to the left edge of your browser window. So here's an example. These are regular tabs, and then by pinning it, right, by right clicking and pinning it, then they can stick to the left. So maybe you have your email on the left or your calendar on the left or Facebook on the left. It's very, very convenient. So let me jump in and demo tabbed browsing and pinned tabs. And remember, at the end when we get to the Q&A, we'll open it up for all kinds of questions. All right, so let me get out of this and let me open up a couple of other sites. Website creationworkshop.com. And maybe I'll go to facebook.com. Groups. I'll go to my foundation group. So if I right click and pin, it moves it over here and makes it really tiny. So let me do that again. So I've got these tabs open, so I can click the plus, this is in Chrome, and get to a new tab. Right, so here I'm on Google. Or I can do Control T and get to a new tab. So you can go wherever you want on the internet and have these different tabs open. And so let's say you want to pin, maybe I want to pin Instagram to the left. I can right click and pin it, and now it comes up as a tiny tab. So this is a way to make your tabs more concise, and you can always find it because it's pinned. And Firefox will work the same way. Pin tab, it moves it to the site. And let's go here to the website creation workshop. And I'm logged in, so I see this top toolbar. Let me copy this. So copying this, if I opened a private window, now I'll see the site not logged in. See, and it didn't save any cookies, so I'm going to click accept all. So see, this is the not logged in, this is the logged in view. So that's just a little extra there. And again, right click, pin tab, it pins it to the end. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to show in that demo. Oh, there's one more thing I want to show with tab browsing. Hold on. So Control W will close it. And most of the time I just click the X, but you can do Control W to close the tab. All right, let me get back to PowerPoint and let me keep going. All right, productivity tip number 3 is bookmarking popular sites. And I just had to rebuild my computer. It completely broke. I had to rebuild it, and I rebuilt all my bookmarks. So if you're not bookmarking, this is probably going to be, I think, the best productivity tip. And this little image shows you the way you bookmark as you drag it to the toolbar, and I'll demo that. So bookmarks are also called favorites or shortcuts. It's a way to save your favorite or most frequently used websites in your browser for easy access. So it can be shown in the bookmarks toolbar or bookmarks menu section, allowing you to visit a site with a click instead of having to type the URL. And so this is the way you do it when you go to a site. You click and drag, like right before the URL, you click and drag on to the toolbar area. And you can have many bookmarks. So this is a screenshot with my bookmarks from Chrome, and I have a lot of bookmarks. And often what I do is I make a shortcut. So like this is Facebook Messenger, this is Instagram, this is GoToWebinar, so that I can have a lot of bookmarks in one place. So I am going to demo bookmarks. Once you start using bookmarks, boy, your productivity is really going to speed up. All right, so let me get out of PowerPoint, minimize this. I'll bring up not the incognito window. I'll bring this up. So I'm in Chrome. Since a lot of people are using Chrome, I'll demo with Chrome, and then you get to see this little circle here. So first I want to show my bookmarks bar. So this is my bookmarks bar, and you can see I have room for a lot of other things up here. So let me go to New Tab. I have a program called the Graphics Creation Workshop. So this is one of my courses. If I wanted to bookmark this, I would click and drag it down to the toolbar. So this is in Chrome, so you need to be able to see the toolbar. So on the upper right, three dots, bookmarks and tabs, you want to make sure the bookmarks bar is showing. And then here are all my bookmarks listed here, but I like to have them up here. So if I didn't want this spelled out long, I can right click and edit the bookmark, and I can give it an abbreviated name because that's a long name. So GCW, Graphics Creation Workshop. So now I have a bookmark. So it's a good idea to bookmark like your own website or wherever you go often. So you boot up your computer, you're like, okay, I'm going to start my day. Where do you go? Do you go to your email? Do you go to your calendar? So as you can see, I have a bookmark for Google Calendar and my Gmail and other sites, and I still have more room here. Then this way, like I can go to the website creation workshop, or I can click to the graphics creation workshop, or this new site that I'm building, Quest for the Divine. So now it gets me to my Quest for the Divine website. So, and I'll say okay to accept the cookies. And this is my passion project because I'm really into learning and understanding the divine. Who is the divine? What does that mean? And what are the different ways that different religions study and understand the divine? So Sarah wants to know, is there a way to alphabetize or reorganize bookmarks? Yes, you can move them around. So for example, you just click and drag and move your bookmark. Or I might want to put this at the end. So you can right click and you can edit a bookmark. So maybe I just want to call that WCW blog. Maybe I want to call it that. But you can click and drag and move it. And then when you get too many of them, you'll have, um, here's the list. But eventually I'll probably fill this up and then I'll have more abbreviations. You can also have a folder. So I have a folder for my Facebook groups. I've got my club, and these are for people in the website creation workshop. Here's the foundation. And let me go to website marketing workshop. I hope that's the name. Yes. So this is for my intermediate WordPress class, and some of you here are in this program. So after the website creation workshop, some people move into my website marketing workshop. And let's say I wanted to move this into a folder. I click and drag, and when it hovers over, see how it's hovering over and changing color? That's moved it into the folder. So now all my Facebook groups are in one place, and then I can right click and edit this, and I'll just call it WMW for Website Marketing Workshop, and then that is a little shortcut. So you can do that. So how do you make a folder? You right click and you say add folder, and then that you can name it whatever you want, maybe my websites. So if you've got multiple websites, I could click and drag all my websites into the My Websites folder. So the great thing about bookmarks is you get to decide how you want to organize them, how you want to rearrange them. You know, you just click and drag and move it around, and it's the same for Firefox or Chrome. So what am I teaching? I'm teaching tabbed browsing. So let's say I want to go to yahoo.com, read the news or whatever. So tabbed browsing, you're opening up different tabs, and then bookmarks on your browser. This is the bookmarks bar, and if it's getting cluttered or you don't like it, you want to turn it off, you go to bookmarks and lists, hide bookmarks bar. And oh wait, I thought I did that. Let me try that again. Bookmarks and lists, show bookmarks bar, hide bookmarks bar. For some reason, for me, this doesn't work as well on Chrome as it does in Firefox. So I'm in Firefox, bookmarks, show bookmarks toolbar, and I can see all my bookmarks toolbar. And then I have one for Zoom. So if you do consultations with people, you might want your Zoom room in your bookmarks. But when I make videos so that it's not distracting, I turn off my bookmarks. Okay, I think I want to get back in here. So that was my demo on bookmarks. Now I want to show you productivity tip number 4 is browser shortcuts. So browser shortcuts are keystrokes that you do to make things faster, such as finding, copying and pasting, zooming in and out. Most people already know copy and paste. Not everybody knows zooming. So Control F, I use this all the time, is if you want to find text on the screen. So maybe you're on a website and you're searching for something on that page. Control A will select everything in an area. Control C will copy text. Control V will paste text. And Control L will get to the address bar at the top. And this one, zooming in and out, is great, especially like if you don't have your glasses and you want to zoom in. Control plus will zoom in, Control minus will zoom out, and Control 0 will go back to the default size on your browser. Control T, as I mentioned before, opens a new tab. Control W closes a tab. You're going to get all this in the tips cheat sheet, which we'll give at the end. And then there's Control Z if you make a mistake, right? And I do Control Z all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are normal. It's just how do you undo it? And Control Z will help you undo it. So as I mentioned, you're going to get all this in the PDF tips sheet at the end. All right, so let me demo these browser shortcuts. So let's bring up Firefox. So I did Control T to open a new tab. Website creationworkshop.com, about us. I think I renamed that to About Christina Hills. Let's see if it can find us. No, About Christina Hills. So let's say you're on a web page and you want to find something. So let's say you want to find the word film. Control F, and Firefox opens it down here. Film. Ah, okay. Here is where film is listed on this page. So if you're trying to find something, this is not a Google search. If you're trying to find something within a page, you do Control F. Now, if I look at this in Firefox, and I can X out of it. So let's bring up Firefox. No, let's bring up Chrome. So I'll go to that web page. Same web page, different browser, because I'm not logged in here. If I click on my keyboard, Control F or Apple Command F, Chrome puts it up top here, and I type the word film. And now it's showing me how many instances. I think Firefox did that too. Here's where the word film is on the page. So this is really useful, especially if you're building your website. If you're building your website yourself, and you might be looking over your copy and where did you type in, where do you have these instances? It's also helpful on other people's sites, and I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but if you're looking for something on a page, if I go to the FAQ, and let me just think of something. This is my FAQ for the course. So I can't think of something off the top of my head. This is not a very long FAQ. But if you're trying to find something on a page, Control F will search this page. So it's not a Google search. All right, then let's say you want to, I'll go back to my About page. If you want to zoom in, maybe the font's too small for you, Control plus. Control plus will zoom in. So now it's really giant. Control minus will zoom out. Right, so now this actually doesn't zoom out, but this is zooming out. And then if you've got it all messed up, Control 0 goes back to normal. So Control plus, Control minus, Control 0, it works on Firefox and it works in Chrome. Same thing, Control plus, Control minus, and then Control 0. So I'll do that. I'll be on a website. It's like, I forgot my glasses. Control plus, plus, plus. Okay, now I can read it really easily. And then Control 0. All right, I think that's all. I know I can do more of these browser shortcuts. If you want to type something else in, Control A will copy that. If you're down here, Control L, Control L gets you up to the top. All right, let me keep going because I don't want to run out of time. So let me get back to PowerPoint. And then as people have questions, then I can go back and do more demos. So that was demoing the browser shortcuts. Productivity tip number 5 is using a password manager. And here on the screen are just a few that I'm familiar with that keeps track of your password. Passwords are hard to remember, so you want to have a system and one of these free accounts to remember it for you. So a password manager is you open up an account on one of the ones I listed, and I think I list them again, and it'll safely store your passwords online so when you need them you can quickly get to them. And you don't want to rely on your browser. Some people say, oh, my browser remembers. Well, if your browser gets corrupted and you have to uninstall it or reinstall it or it updates or whatever, you can lose those password browser settings, right? Because the browser, if you say yes, it'll store your password. But it's not as safe as using one of these password managers. So what you want to do is, let me go to the next screen. So these are some popular ones: Bitwarden, 1Password, Dashlane, LastPass. There's probably others. Just pick the one that you like, and there's probably other systems as well. I used to use another one, I can't remember what it was called, and it was stored on my computer, whereas these are storing them online. So here's an example. If you go to, once you have it set up and installed, I don't have to remember my password for American Airlines. The password manager will just fill it in. And what's great about a password manager is I use it on my iPhone, I use it on my laptop, I use it on my desktop. I can use it in multiple places. So someone's asking, how trustworthy are these? Well, nothing is ever 100% foolproof, but the amount of time it saves me is worth it. And if you want to be extra sure, just don't store your banking info, right? So anything that might have to do with money, don't store that. But, my American Airlines login, I'm fine with that. So I think they are totally, totally worth it. And, when I visit my mother and I keep trying to get her to get a password manager, it is so painful watching her type in a password. So, all right, I'm going to keep going and we'll take more questions at the end. So my last tip is using AI tools to simplify your life. And if you're like me, when you hear about AI, you just groan like, God, I don't want this in my life, right? But AI is here, and unfortunately, it's not going to go away. So at the beginning, I was really resisting it, and now I'm like, okay, it's not going away, so I might as well learn how to use it. And I'm going to show you some examples where it really simplifies your life. So the most popular one is ChatGPT by the company called AI. The easiest way to find it is just Google ChatGPT. And you can open up a free account or you can have a paid account. And I'll show you an example. So ChatGPT, which is always hard to say, this is what it looks like. Claude.ai is another one, and I have a free account. And you'll get slightly different results. Gemini is Google's, formerly called Bard, and you can use that one as well. It really depends upon what you want to use. Then there's Grammarly.com, which is more for writing, like if you want it to help you with your writing. And they have a free version and also a paid version. But AI is still growing and changing, so don't spend a lot of money. So whatever you do, just don't spend a lot of money because I don't think you need it. And start out simple. So here's a simple example of what I did with ChatGPT. And you might be listening to me thinking, well, Christina, I'm already a whiz at ChatGPT, and you might already be a whiz. I'm trying to encourage people who've not started using it to start really simple. So my mom and I were talking about recipes because we both love to cook, and I jotted down, even with this typo, her recipe. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to have ChatGPT format that for me. So I said, turn this into a formatted recipe. And I wrote down my simple notes. And then this is what it came up with. So candied orange slices, it formatted it really nicely, and I put it on my Christina's Recipes website. So going from this to this was a big time saver. Like it put the steps in and it did the indenting and it made it really nice. So start simple. And here's some ideas of getting started simple. Rewriting emails to people. So maybe you get an email and someone inviting you to something and you don't want to think through a nice response. Say, can you read this email I got and write a nice response letting them know I can't come? Boy, that's a time saver. Or what can I make for dinner with chicken, broccoli, and rice? Like you look in your fridge, I've got these things. Hey, AI, what can I make with these ingredients? Or can you fix my grammar? Like you're typing and maybe like your grammar's sloppy or you got run-on sentences. Hey, can you fix this sentence? Or movie recommendations. I liked When Harry Met Sally. Do you have any similar movies you'd suggest? So, for those of you not using AI, get started with simple stuff and slowly but surely you'll get faster and faster at it. All right, so these were my 5 productivity tips. One is using multiple browsers or the incognito private browser. Use tabbed browsing. Bookmark your favorite websites. I think that's my biggest tip. That makes my life go the fastest. Memorizing keyboard shortcuts. Using a password manager. Actually, that's another big tip. And using AI tools to speed up your work. Now, my next free training is coming up in a couple of weeks, and this is going to be the preview of my spring website creation workshop. You can go to websitecreationclass.com/webinars. If you are listening to me and you're already in the program, you don't need to sign up for this. But if you don't have a WordPress site and you never took my online course, you're going to want to come to one of these sessions. The sessions will all be the same. It'll just be the Q&A will be different. So, Joanna, can you put that link in the chat? websitecreationclass.com/webinars.
Yes.
So that is
Okay.
coming up. And then also, if you want to be on the general notification list for when we open the doors, websitecreationclass.com is the place to go. And here is the link for that tips PDF, websitecreationclass.com/tips-PDF. And Joanna, if you could put that in the chat as well, websitecreationclass.com/tips-PDF, and then you can go ahead and download that. And we'll also email it out to everyone who signed up for today's class. And this has been my 5 productivity tips for working faster and smarter online. This is Christina Hills. All right, I am ready to go to questions.
And Martin was just mentioning on the AI conversation that, be careful about entering any sensitive information in there. So just a note there for folks. Okay, so Ray says, do the password managers you listed have a free trial?
They should all have a free trial. So um, I use the free one. I use LastPass, and some people are not happy with LastPass, but I'm fine with it. They all should have a free trial. So if they don't, I'd find one with a free trial. So this is the play. I just want to mention this. And I'm logged in, so I see this top toolbar. This is the place to go to come to the free webinar on, and I'll also send emails out. But for those of you who like to plan ahead, again, they'll all be the same. You just click and pick the one you want to go to. You can go to more than one. And there's also the link, and here's a few testimonials. So I just wanted to show that website creationclass.com/webinars. If you're listening to me and you are a current student, you don't need to come to this. Okay, Joanne, I wanted to get that in, and you were asking me a question.
Yes. David was just wondering which AI is your favorite for copywriting?
I like I like Grammarly for copywriting, but I use ChatGPT as kind of an all-in-one.
Okay. And Howard was wondering, will private windows eliminate cookies and pop-ups?
I'm not sure about pop-ups, but if I open an incognito window, it's it's not going to save cookies or browsing history. I don't know about pop-ups, and I can't think of a site with a pop-up right now. Yeah, it's the
Um,
idea behind it is it doesn't save anything. So,
okay. So Tim says, if I wanted to go to Amazon.com in incognito window, do I click on the three little dots first before going to Amazon?
yeah, so you click on the three little dots, open an incognito, and then you go to Amazon.com. This is a good example. And so it doesn't recognize me because it's not storing anything. So I have to go through this. Let's see, FGNHBJ, continue shopping. So I'm not logged in at all. So I can browse Amazon, but if I want to purchase, I'd have to log in. That's a great question.
Okay. So John says, if I understand correctly, the website is created in WordPress and then transferred to a host like GoDaddy. I'm not sure if you covered that today, but John was asking that question.
About building a website?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I'll go over that in this on this webinar, but I can answer it quickly. So, in my training, the website creation workshop, we give each student a practice website, and then once your practice website is done, you can move it into your own hosting. So, let's see if WP Clubs sites5.com. I think this is it. Yeah, so this was my practice site, and we give each student a unique URL, and that was the site I practiced on. I built it in this site, so you don't have to get hosting before you take my course. And then I moved it into my actual Quest for the Divine. And I changed themes. This is one design, and I changed to this other design. So, yeah, so if you want to take the website creation workshop, if you want to go through the program, you can get on the notification, right? Enrollment's going to open in 11 days, but you'll also get that notification if you sign up for one of these webinars.
So Jan had just mentioned when it came to bookmarking your tabs that it works a little bit differently on Safari, is her experience. But she was just wondering, how do you delete tabs
Ah,
that you don't want anymore?
A tab. How do you delete a tab? Okay,
She said
let's.
tabs, but I'm not sure if she meant
Okay,
bookmarks
so I'll show both. If you want to delete a tab, you click the little X, or if you want to delete a tab, you do Control W, and that closes the tab. So let me go to. So I'm switching back and forth. No, not that one. Um, oh, that's also. Here, let me go here. So I'll show my bookmarks. Bookmarks and lists. Show bookmarks bar. Let's say I don't want one of these tabs anymore. I can right click and delete, and that will delete the bookmark. So I showed bookmarks and I showed tabs.
Okay. And Martin was mentioning there's also an option to close all tabs as well. Um,
Let's
okay,
see, where's, I
so
never do that. Close all tabs. Open all in a new tab group. Yeah, that's something that I don't do. In the right tab,
so
in the right click, you can maybe over it. Close other tabs. I see. Close tabs to the right, close other tabs. Okay, so you hover over the tab and then you can close all your other tabs. I tend to just click the X to close out a tab. Thank you for suggesting that.
Saku, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, was just asking what is the best use of Grammarly? I think that might be what the question is.
The best use of Grammarly is, and I have a Grammarly account, so I haven't used my Grammarly account in a while, but you can, it'll just help you with your writing. And it's designed for writing. So you can put your writing in that's not so good, and then it will help you. And you can have a free version or a paid version. And I think I signed up for the paid version because it was giving me just more options.
And Lawrence also mentioned there's a bookmark manager in the top menu for those that want to um, use that to help organize their
You
bookmarks.
know, I've seen this, I never use it. So you can use this bookmark manager. I actually, like I said, I never use it. I just what I do, and here's the thing about technology, and this is important for everybody. You can take it as far as you want. So, like you're listening today, and I'm teaching a lot of things, and some of you are like, you know what? I'm just going to add these couple of little tips in, and that's going to make my life more useful. Other people are going to be, I'm going to start using every single thing Christina taught. So, yeah, Lawrence is saying he uses the bookmark manager. I'm just not in the habit of it. So, here's
Okay.
another way to bookmark. I bookmark by dragging. No, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me go back to Grammarly. Grammarly. If you drag the tab, it will take it out of the other group. And if you want to put it back, you drag it back up. If you want to bookmark this, you grab the URL and you drag it to the toolbar. But there's this other shortcut, and bookmarks and list. Bookmark this tab, Control D, and that will bookmark it. I don't like Control D because I think of delete. So, and
Okay.
then that's Chrome.
And
Firefox is a little bit different. There's a
yeah.
bookmarks, search bookmarks, show bookmarks toolbar, and bookmarks toolbar. And there's a way to, I don't use that feature, so I personally don't use the manager. I drag things down. That's what I do. I right click and I edit it. So maybe about me if I want to bookmark this page. And then, so I right click, I can edit it or I delete the bookmark when I'm like, you know what, I don't need this anymore. So I'm deleting it. All right.
Okay, yeah, Belle was mentioning she uses the Manage My Bookmarks in
Yeah.
Firefox.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Belle.
Oh yeah, and Lawrence says in Brave there's a bookmark icon beside the home icon. So different browsers I know have different features there.
Right.
Okay, so Christine says going back to using multiple browsers. When building a website, do you use the same website URL? And how do you get the coming soon page?
Okay. Let me go to uh, buildyourpassion.com. And then I also have my favorite plugins.com. So this one has this coming soon. This one has this coming soon. Okay, read the question again.
Yes, so going back to using multiple browsers, when building a website, do you use the same website URL? And how do you get the coming soon page?
So the coming soon page, this is something I teach in the website creation workshop. This is a plugin that you can easily add to your website if you don't want it visible while you're building it, which is common. If your site is live, like in the if you're not in my program, you might be building your site live on the internet and it's not ready yet. So you would add a plugin, an under construction plugin. And again, I teach this in the course. So you would use the same URL because it's the same place. It's just, let me bring, it's just in one browser you're logged in and then in another browser you're not logged in.
And Jan was just wondering if you had an AI recommendation for photo editing.
So for photo editing, so here's the Build Your Passion because I'm logged in and that's in this browser. And then I'm just coming back to that other question and then I'll get to the photo editing. And here it is. Right, here's in Chrome, I'm not logged in. In Firefox, I am logged in. Um, I teach photo editing in the graphics creation workshop. So that is a program that costs $2.95 and it teaches people how to edit and create graphics. So that's what I do. I make them myself. And if you if you decide to join me in this spring class and you pay in full, we give you this other course as a bonus. So I use the tools that I teach in the graphics creation workshop to do photo editing.
So we have a couple other questions that didn't directly pertain to the presentation. Do you want to take a look at them
Yeah,
briefly?
it depends how complex they are. I like to stay with productivity tips.
Okay. So we'll just see. So Saku was wondering if you will have a webinar coming covering SEO for site optimization.
So I have that in as a bonus in the website creation workshop. So when you sign up for my 16-week class, and it doesn't take 16 weeks to go through it, you can do it a lot faster. But that's one of the bonuses, and I'll be talking about that on this free WordPress masterclass. Here's where I'm going to dive in deeper to WordPress. So, and I'll talk about that. So I don't have a standalone SEO class.
Okay, and then Brian says, if I want to move my WordPress website to my domain host provider servers, what is the easiest way to do this?
If he wants to transfer his website, can you?
I believe that's what he's asking.
Okay.
Yes.
I do talk about that in the master class, but you have to be building it somewhere. So is he thinking about if he's in my course? How does he do it?
I'm not sure on that part.
Got it. Okay. Well, you have to build it somewhere. So here's an example. I was building this, and this was the theme I was thinking of using. And then I decided when I went live, so this is the theme I was using. And then when I went live, I picked a different design because I liked this look a little bit better than this. So you have to, when you're building a WordPress site, you have to build it somewhere. And in my course, we give each person a student project, a temporary location to create it, and then we help you move it into your own hosting. So how to get it into your own hosting is different depending upon each hosting company. But yeah, this is what in my website creation workshop course, and this is the free webinar, which will talk more in details about the course. I go through that.
Okay, Brian says that helps. Thank you. And Vanita was wondering, is the under construction or coming soon an add-on? And
Yeah.
if you had a recommendation.
So it's a little bit of an advanced question, but there's an under construction plugin for free that you can add to your site, Vanita. So, and I recommend the one that's just called under construction.
And then Vanita was also wondering, uh, she knows you teach, website creation with WordPress, but was wondering if you like, would you recommend creating a landing page without a website, or what would be your recommendation for a landing page?
So it sounds like Vanita already knows WordPress, and so I would recommend that she consider my website marketing workshop program. So this is to help people who already have a WordPress site. I teach creating a landing page in this one. In fact, my training on that for all the students in this program will be coming up April 30th. But this might be the program that will be right for you. And this is, again, whoever's listening, this is for people who already have a WordPress site and know the basics. And it sounds like Vanita, that's where you fall. So it's $89 a month. You can cancel at any time, or you can get a discount and pay $9.80. And this is where we teach more social media, getting traffic, email marketing, so you can check that out. So this is my intermediate program. The website creation workshop is my foundation class. And let me just come over here. Yeah, so you can opt in to be notified. So it sounds like Vanita, the website marketing workshop is right for you. Okay.
Okay. Vanita says, thank you. I don't see any other questions at this time. I think we got through them all.
All right. So let me go to the tips PDF so I can just show people where that is. So websitecreationclass.com/tips PDF. It will redirect you to this PDF. You can then print it or download it to your computer. We will get the replay up for today's training, and we will send out an email for the replay if you want to review anything that I did today. Switch this. Thank you to Joanna for helping me on today's call, and also do remember, if you've never been through my program, sign up for the websitecreationclass.com/webinars. That's happening in about 2 weeks, so you can learn more about my course, and I'll do WordPress demos, and I'll talk all about website building, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, Joanna, and to everybody else in my team, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.